SFR1, we await your orders. You need but to ask it of us, and it shall be done.
The most enjoyable thing now might be taking over the world.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stone Face Reactions. I'm Griffin, that's Theta on either side of me here, and we are going to be watching some Overlord. So this anime has been around for a while and it's getting a brand new season, and now's the time to go ahead and rewatch all of it and go, what the hell even happened during season 1? I don't even know. What about you?
Unfortunately, I know even more than what's on the screen. I think the thing is to say is we're rewatching from episode 1 to re-up ourselves on anything we might have forgotten, as well as, have the record here of us having watched it, so that when we reach the stuff what we haven't seen, I don't know, how far have you watched Overlord?
I think either to the end of season 2 or season 3. I think the last thing I remember was a big city fight. That might be 3.
I mean, do you remember the resolution of the big city fight?
Slight bits of it. It has been a couple of years since I've watched it.
Whereas Overlord for me is something I sometimes come back to. I think more often it's been season 2. Because I like the interaction between Ainz and the lizards.
Oh yeah, that's an extra fun one. That's just cute, really.
Yeah. But,
so let's lay out like maybe what do we think positively and negative about the series right now as we're getting into it, just to prep everyone.
Well, everyone knows I'm the negative guy, so I'll start negative column.
Of course.
The amount of CGI that eventually gets pushed into the show is not so great.
Fair. What's your positive take on everything?
Well, I'm gonna skip positive for now to go to a did you know? Yeah, are you familiar with Isekai Quartet?
Isekai Quartet? No, I don't think so.
Overlord is one Isekai that the company that makes it owns, among others, which is also Saga of Tanya the Evil, Konosuba, and ReZero. Same company makes all 4 Isekai. So they made a little chibi show called Isekai Quartet.
Oh, I think I've seen some clips of that. Yeah,
where they all get isekai'd from their isekai realities into this one world altogether. So all 4 isekai shows get, into a high school situation altogether.
Yeah, and then they're all in school together.
Well, I bring that up because the did you know fact is all 4 isekai shows take place from the same Earth. So the main character from ReZero, the main character from Overlord, the main character from Konosuba, and the main character from Tanya the Evil are all from the same Earth.
They're all just playing different video games, which, yeah, that checks out. That's fine.
No,
how many different Earths do you need?
Tanya the Evil basically gets Truck-kun. She,
oh, they're the truck girl. Oh, okay.
In real life, he's a dude. He's like a corporate shill, basically. He gets hit by a train when the person he fires earlier in that day pushes him onto the tracks. ReZero actually gets Truck-kuned too. No, I don't remember. He walks out of like a 7-Eleven and is suddenly in a new world. It's not like he doesn't get shown dying or anything. Konosuba gets tractor-kuned because he gets hit by a tractor.
There's this little bit of a thing going on here, I see.
I mean, we'll spoil the first minute of Overlord, but Ainz just was playing a game and didn't log out, so...
He falls asleep while playing, wakes up, and realizes he's still there.
But the fact about it is they're all from the Earth. Ainz is from the far future. He's from a reality where people don't... it costs too much money to go to school. The environment's been ruined. He's from the far future, but he still gets isekai'd. I think the other ones are basically from the normal present.
Okay, that kind of checks out.
It's just a little known fact.
he doesn't go into a lot about anything about the real world, but I think there were some like vague hints I remember of like things being slightly more advanced or something. I don't remember any details, but it kind of checks out to like what I remember.
I think it's said mostly in the first episode, most of the facts. And then he makes like allusions to the reality that he came from about why he's bad at handling certain things. Like,
Yeah.
he's bad with people in relationships because he never went to school or anything. He's been like home all of his life. That sort of thing.
Yeah. So I guess if I were to go into my own positive and negatives here, my negative here, to start with negative Nancy, is the show spins its wheels a whole lot, doesn't it?
Disagree?
I think it really spends a lot of time maybe not doing a whole lot. It is trying to set things up, and it does have payout, but it feels like it drags to me, and I think that's what shoved me away from it in the past. I'm just like, I don't want to just keep waiting.
I want to just respond to
Which,
that real
go ahead.
quick because I think your problem falls under my positive.
Yeah.
In that the thing that I would say before was I know a lot more than what is on screen, and there is so much going on in the background of the show
Yeah.
that hasn't made it on to even season 3 of the show yet, but is being built up and alluded to the point where once it happens or once it shows up on screen, it'll be like a moment because you'll realize what's going on.
Yeah, it's like it's doing some build up. It's actually going to pay out. It's not pulling an Attack on Titans where everything is a mystery box and you're never going to see it. We're never going to go underneath the house and like figure out what was under there. We're never going to go into the forest and meet anyone. I'm sure that's probably happened by now. It's been 10 years.
But what
Uh,
I'm describing, or what I'm countering is you're describing as wheels turning is actually just really super in-depth world building that's not being explained to you until the payoff comes.
Right. And it's not that it's bad, it's just that at the time I'm like, well, I've done 3 seasons of this, I'll go somewhere else because I need to be constantly doing something or I get bored. That's it.
Right.
That's the worst I have to say about this, aside from maybe 1 or 2 other things that, like, are normal complaints.
Right. I'm not saying it as a defense of the show
Yeah.
so much as that I don't feel like if you didn't have somebody saying that you might not understand that that's happening.
Yeah. Meanwhile, for the positives, I would probably have to say our main character is a total dork. He has no idea how to do anything except how to min-max, and that's basically the main joke of the entire series, and it just kind of keeps working out pretty effectively.
It's
I
not, though.
enjoyed that joke.
I disagree. You watched season 1, right?
I did.
You remember the last episode, right?
hmm Oh, wait, do I? No, I don't know specifically what happens in the last episode of season 1.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to spoil that here in our first viewing of episode 1.
We'll get there.
Let it come, but I believe the same problem that you're describing right now is why Shy isn't with us with this. In that Shy described their problem with the main character, and then completely forgot what season 1 was about. The ending of season 1, the last episode, disproves everything you just said and Shy's problem as well.
Like it's obviously not like the end all of his like character, but I like where he starts. It's a funny place, and he builds and grows, and he eventually learns how to actually roleplay with people.
I mean, I don't disagree that he's a dork. Well, I mean, that comes with what I was talking about before about the real world that he comes from, is that he is a dork. He has no social skills because of the dystopian future that he comes from.
Now he's hyper overpowered in a world where everyone is like immediately obedient to him. He's like, oh shit, I have to figure this out real fast.
Well, again, that's something that comes up like immediately in the
So
first episode, so we can discuss that as it shows up.
yeah, I guess maybe to be more precise, the charm I find in Ainz is that he's not someone like uh going power mad here. He's just like, oh, I'm in a situation where I have responsibility and I don't know what to do.
Or he feels
And
regret
that's
for the immediate things that he's done once he
yeah.
realizes that he's in it. Well,
Or he realizes like he made a mistake and it's like, oh, this is so embarrassing. I can't live with this anymore.
I'm referring to something that happens like immediately in episode 1, not so much the things that he actually does to other people.
I'm thinking of a very, very specific moment right now. But not in episode 1, I don't think.
Well, I'm talking about the thing he does in episode 1, which again we can refer to once it comes up.
Right.
Because
Well,
otherwise, my enjoyment of Ainz, because I didn't really give a positive, my positives so far have been responses to
yeah.
negatives. My enjoyment of Ainz is he starts off as like a human, meaning like a human being would, and then quickly turns to adapt to the situation he's placed in. So, like the story arc is one where he realizes where he's in, and he pulls back, right? And then the next couple of seasons, he retracts from the pullback to then expand out into the world that he's been placed in.
Right. He is overly paranoidally cautious, which I think also like contributed to some of the slowdown, but also makes him at least seem like he's slightly aware that maybe something bad could happen to him, and he doesn't want a loss of any kind.
Again, that's
so there,
part.
it's definitely very mixed there.
Again,
For me,
I feel like
for
that's
me.
part of the thing that we'll be responding to as we rewatch.
Mhm.
Because I don't agree with you there either. But I
Yeah,
feel like
maybe
that's
on rewatch I'll have new feelings or remember what I didn't like.
right. Again, I feel like that's a thing that's not like. Oh, here's going to explain why. I feel like it's a. Here we get to. Let's rewatch it together, and we'll see why I disagree with you in the moment, and not a heavy discussion.
Yeah. So at least going into it, I feel pretty positive doing this again. I feel like I will enjoy watching it, so I'm ready to watch. What about you?
And again, I liked Overlord enough that I rewatched it a number of times. Again, I also like the audio, the soundtrack, but
Oh yeah.
it's also to the point where like, oh yeah, I remember this, and this happened. But for a rewatch, I was never able to go back and like I want to watch that scene again. I was never able to go back and figure out where the hell a scene took place. So it's like there's still enough there that I don't remember everything.
Yeah, that's understandable. All right, so I guess let's go ahead and jog our memory and let's go ahead and watch.
ライブマッシブリーマルチプレイヤーオンラインロールプレイングゲーム通称 DMMORPG 仮想世界で現実にいるかのごとく遊べる体験型ゲームのことである
We're all pretty familiar with RPGs over here.
西暦2126
Yeah,
年
Oh, 2126. Yeah, far future. There we go.
Edge is also the name of the second MMO, third MMO, NSAO Online.
I thought it was the second one. Maybe, yeah, I'm miscounting.
No, you're
probably.
right. It is the second one because Gun Gale Online is the third one.
They brought it back for a sequel.
最後の時を迎えようとしていた
It's like, sure, it tortured people, but, you know, we'll bring it back.
I mean, they do.
Of course they do. SAO is crazy.
Well, no, it's at the end of it all, they unleash the Seed, which is how you make your own MMOs based on this after they solved all the problems.
Someone's just like, alright, this is my Yggdrasil restoration project. We took out the torture implements and implemented free economy.
Well, you have to remember, there was only a limited number of people trapped in the game. For everybody else, everyone else, it was a super enjoyable MMO. So,
yeah, you just gotta distance yourself from the torture a little bit. Intense PvP event.
it's another thing I like is basically everyone behind him there in that scene is a very important person to the story. And how it gets mentioned a lot, and has personalities that affect things, even though they're not represented in the show anymore.
And now the music. One of the best parts.
I would say second best opening.
Yeah. I don't think I've ranked them, but this one is like highly enjoyable. Like this is half the reason I enjoyed watching this show. Just like, all right, I'm getting this intro. This is good.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I need more of this.
I can't remember if it was the second intro or the third intro. It's the I'm very, very hungry.
Mhm.
Can't remember the name of the song.
Well, we're gonna get to it and we're gonna enjoy it.
It's the one that what's her name sings. I also can't remember her name off the top of my head.
You got me. I don't remember names.
She's under you in the current overlay, which I'm going to change. Don't worry.
Mhm. He doesn't get around to wearing that in season 1, does he?
He does.
No, okay, yeah, he does. He starts doing it, and then he makes it a bigger thing later. Butler is still one of my favorites. I forget what his name is.
Is that your favorite?
A little.
I gave you one job, Griff.
Oh, well, I forgot it already. I was waiting for him to appear again.
I said I have something to say about. Sorry, anyone picking this up. We had a freeze, and he stopped midway through saying something about the butler. So
Alright.
in the re-recording, I said, "Hey, I have something interesting to say about the butler."
Yeah. I enjoyed the Butler. It was very much like watching an AI learn stuff, I think. I'll get into theories about this show later. But we have Goopatar, the most powerful class.
Oh, he's one of the divine beings. This is all we know is what all the AI characters refer to as their creators. He's also a worker.
Oh yeah, they have emojis right now, and then they get taken away.
ナザリックはみんなで作り上げた本拠地ですからね。モモンガさん、お疲れ様でした。またどこかでお会い
It's a
しましょ
shame the English translation of the location that they're in doesn't quite fit into the item frame.
I love how he's like, I hope we meet again somewhere, and it's not like, hey, do you want to just like play this other game Friday?
Again, he's a salary worker. He doesn't have time. That's why he hasn't logged in except for right now.
Yeah.
It's literally just explained.
またどこかでお会いしましょうか。どこでいつ会うのだろうね。
That's another.
Yeah, if only he gave a time or a game.
Well, everybody knows what time the game's gonna shut down. But I mean, I think it's
0 points
also
of damage.
an interesting moment of note, or not a moment of note, interesting point of fact, is that Ain's here, or Momonga, real name, isn't even the main character of his own story.
Ha!
I mean, it's not specifically pointed out yet, but there's like somebody who has like a heavy influence over him that he bases everything that he does on, which makes him not really the main character of his own story, if you think about it.
I mean, he's still learning and growing. I figure being the focus character is main character enough. But
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, he's the focus character, but he's not like the main. They get referred to, but I can't remember their name off the top of my head.
アインズールゴーンの加入条件は2つ。アバターが異業種であること。そしてプレイヤーは社会
And again, he's like every D&D character I've ever wanted to make.
そう。みんな生活がかかっている。夢を実現した人だっている。
Overpowered in a skeleton, I mean.
リアルを取るのは仕方のないことなんだ。
Living the life.
ああ、セバスという名前だったか。それに戦闘メイドプレアデスたち。
Yeah, I was about to call them battle maids. I couldn't
玉
remember
座の
their
名を守ってもらっていたけど、
maids of
とうとうここ
Pleiades.
まで攻め込んできたプレイヤーは一人もいなかったな。
People didn't even want to raid his dungeon.
I gotta say, I think my favorite, at least, maid of Pleiades is the bug one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's because she has an adorable personality despite being like a man-eating insect.
Yeah, it's cute from what I remember.
It's like her mask gets destroyed, and she's like super sad and angry, like we could be watching a different style of anime. It's like, oh, I feel genuine emotion for her in this moment.
Mhm.
And then she's like, now I have to eat your vocal cords, so I have a voice again. It's like, oh, yeah, that brings me back.
I made my anime waifu stand in my throne room.
Well, she's not a waifu at the moment. She's a tsunami now.
But she'll be waifu for the rest of the series.
I mean, it depends. I mean, what you consider a waifu. But yeah, no, I mean that the person who made her is like a tsunandre, as I think what I said before.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if we saw her fight in any of the 3 seasons.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
She fights in this episode.
Oh, okay. So we'll get something at least.
But what I was about to point out before we had a little freeze there is that one of the things he regrets, this is the thing I was referring to. He doesn't regret doing things to the people in the world. He never has that regret. He regrets editing the characters that his friends made.
Yeah, there you go.
Because that's the constant that he's always had, is he doesn't allow disrespect to what these characters refer to as the Divine Ones.
Yeah, he cares about the friends and people he was hanging out with.
Yeah, because all of these things are representations of the friends he no longer can see. Touch Me, I think, is the name. Touch Me is the character who's basically the main character who never is represented again. Thank God you moved your eyes. I thought it froze again. I was watching the subtitles there, trying to name
Trying
the
to
person.
figure it out.
Yeah, I remember it was a ridiculous name, and it was Touch Me. Because they're represented as like a silver-armored person whenever you see them in flashback.
Oh my gosh, he's got to wake up at 4 a.m. That's the worst. I don't even want to wake up at 8 a.m.
That's why we know he's a salary worker.
Yep.
So I'm referring to the slime dude from before.
They shut down the GM server. Of course you can't poke him anymore.
Next thing you do is you get teleported to the main area, so the person who's running the death game can explain to you how you're all trapped. Again, I want to point out that I think what sold me on this is that this would literally be my ideal situation. Fuck the real world.
You're now trapped forever in it.
As an overpowered character with no other PCs to PvP against me.
I do love, like, the first sign that something is very strange is that all the NPCs who were just obedient before are now just, like, acting and moving normally.
Yeah, no longer talking in subtitles.
Yeah, and your mouth is now animated.
I think the thing to think about when considering this against other isekai MMOs where... Or not even isekai. MMOs, like, I'm addicted to MMOs, but I can't remember the name of that one was called. Is that they show the world like this here, but when they show them playing it, they're like playing isometric, like Diablo-style games. Which is why seeing these people talk in, like, subtitles and doing emojis is, like, the norm.
プレアデスたちは9階層に上がり、侵入者が来ないか警戒に当たる。
かしこまりました、モモンガ様。
コマンドを用いない命令を NPC が理解しているのか?
That aren't specified commands.
Wow, and we're about to see, I think, the worst scene in all anime.
There's a lot of those in this one.
Not really.
しかし
I at least I don't agree
レイヤ
on
ー同
that
士の連
fact.
絡を取るための魔法が
I just disagree with objectification.
そもそも魔法って使えるのか
ではモモンガさ
And
ん
one of his first tests
いたしましょうか
is really
そうだ
weird after he edited her
私
as a
の元ま
character.
で来い
Yup.
いい匂いって匂いそんな機能はユグドラシルにはなかったが
I mean, I think your Skeletor's style knows, but also play against.
脈があるそれになんだこれは AI でしかない NPC がどうしてこんなまるで生きているようなだが次の
I mean, I guess objectification doesn't really matter when you're a succubus either, because you're like down
ア
for
ルベ
it.
ド
Suppose so.
胸を触ってもよいか
But you know, she wasn't that type of person
これ
before.
は必要な
It's
ことなんだ
rough.
そう自然に聞けば
構わんにゃい
Hey, you're such a dork.
全然無理でした
Again, he's a neat, basically, in the real world. No, sorry, not a neat. Well, he might have been a neat. No, he wouldn't be. No education. He would have been a hikikomori in real life.
A shut-in, yeah.
このような18禁に触れる
He's only learned what he can in
新
anime.
たなユグドラシルないか
I mean, I'm not even sure about that.
RPG である
I've broken the mature filter. I'm not in a game anymore.
仮想世界が現実になったという可能性ありえないだが NPC との会話
Again, it's that he's
表情
abusing her
全て今までの
specifically only because he also is, I don't know what you say, mind controlled her at this point because he changed her programming.
すまなかった
Right.
ここで私は初めてを迎えるのですね
え
服はどういたしましょうか自分で脱いだ方がよろしいでしょうか
Now I'm incapable of making the vocal inflections that he
よせ
makes.
よすのだアルベド今はそのようなうんいやそういうことをしている時間はない
申し訳ありません
よいアルベドお前のすべてを許そうそれよりお前に命じたいことがある
何なりとお命じください
第4第8を除く各階層の守護者に6階層の闘技場まで来るように伝えよう時間は今から1時間後だ
I don't know if we finished that conversation. Was you saying that the butler was your favorite character overall?
I think I enjoyed the Butler character a lot. Especially once they got like their own solo episodes and development and stuff.
I mean, just going off of what you know, though, would you say of the characters you can remember, he's your favorite?
Of the ones I can remember right now, yes.
Right.
Of course, they haven't really done anything here yet, so we'll see them soon, I suppose.
I think I might be the cheap one out here and say that Hines himself is my favorite character.
Fair, it's a good choice.
But if we
Nice
had
and
to
simple.
pick someone who's not the main character, which is what I typically try to avoid, I think we're about to meet them right now. My second.
ダークエルフの双子が守護しているはずだが
Not her, but her brother.
アウラか
Oh, they come as a pair. They're twins, right?
モモンガ様
This doesn't mean you can't have a favorite among the two. You're making things real awkward to someone who's married only one twin.
It's a 2-for-1 deal.
I think that's disingenuous, considering they have completely different personalities.
I know, I'm just teasing.
Right, what I'm saying is, I'm declaring my favorite character. It's unfair if I just let that slide. But yeah, no, I think Mare is my second favorite. That's Mare right there for anyone who's never seen Overlord before.
Just cute, uncertain magician girl.
Well, no, it's boy.
Oh, okay.
That's part of the element is that the designer made them a cross-dressing duo. The girl wears men's clothing, and the boy wears women's clothing.
そうこれこそが我々全員で作り上げた最高位のギルド武器スタッフ・オブ・アイン
I
ズ・
mean,
ウルコン
fairness, part of me wants to say Kokaitis might be my second favorite, but I'm not. He's not that much of an interesting character.
You'll have to point him out to me later.
He'll show up here in a minute.
He's just dorking out over his own weapon.
Well, as they said in the very intro, he's been keeping everything up himself this entire time.
ここに全階層守護者を呼んでいる。1時間もしないうちに集まるぞ。
シャルティアも来るんですか？
ユグドラシルでは魔法は浮かび上がるアイコンをクリックするだけでよかった。しかし今はそれが出ない。だけど自分の奥に意識
I do also appreciate how in this world where he's basically considered God by everyone around him.
He's max level 100 player character.
Well,
and
I
no
mean,
one else has caught up even the slightest.
Well, my thought was that nothing he does can seem weird because it's God doing it, right? So whenever he tests something out or just needs to know something, God wouldn't just ask me a question. There must be a point to this. God wouldn't just put on a show and do something. There's a reason he's doing this.
This is some good music.
First episode, they had to try and sell you on the show. We're here now.
I've honestly got to go harvest this whole soundtrack when we're done here.
I think Mare is one of the strongest floor guardians. Obviously, not next to Albedo, of course, but obviously stronger than her sister, his sister. See, it's confusing sometimes. I explained it out loud to you already, and obviously I'm gonna get confused now.
何でございましょうか、モモンガ様。
メッセージがつながった。
セバスか、どうだ、周辺の様子は。
それが少々問題が。
守護者全員を集めている。至急、第6階層の闘技場まで来て。お前の見たものを説明しろ。
かしこまりました。
I said it's very much a my cousin Vinny situation, right? The very end of the movie where the cop shows up and on an anonymous tip. It's like, you think the dude's God. Obviously, he knew something was up, otherwise he wouldn't have sent me out here.
Right.
I mean, that's also why I think Demiurge might be a close second to my second place. He's always the one. Well, God wouldn't have said this otherwise, so clearly this is what God was thinking.
What does God need with a spaceship?
Incorrect. These two were already here. They're quite clearly in your sight range.
彼らに対しては上位者として威厳を持って行動するほかない。それに情報収集だ。俺はユグドラシルでは最高レベルだったが、ここではどのくらいの強さなんだろうか。そして仮にここが異世界だとして、俺は元の世界に
And that's why Shalt here doesn't make my list. There's Gokaitis.
Oh, the big bug guy, yeah. He's got a cool design.
Yeah, but he's very boring.
Understandably, compared to other characters that do a lot of really interesting things later on.
So I say Demiurge there on the far left. Very entertaining. But I don't think he's as interestingly rounded as Mare is. In my head I always spelled it with a K, so weird.
同じく第6階層守護者マーレ・ベロフィオーレ御身の前に
This is also a scene that I included in anything of this is how I want my D&D game to go. This is how I want it to end, if you could please.
You want to end with a completely loyal staff in a giant castle with all the ultimate magic. Yeah, that's fair.
Not even that. I want the world to bow in recognition of the supreme being that is
All hail Supreme Theta.
my character. I include this and a cut from Season 2 event that we'll eventually get to. Okay, so I was wrong. In my head, as I pointed out in the intro, there's I can't remember when things happen. There's obviously an event that happens in episode 2 where Albedo gets into a fight then that I clearly misconstrued as happening in episode 1.
Yeah. This episode was a lot of introducing characters and concept, which, first episode. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I think it plays to your spinning wheels argument that for me everything is very compact and tight, but then you go back in for the rewatch and it's all, that was 24 minutes.
It's like, shouldn't there have been something directly happening here? Like, they threw in the fight scene to give the impression of action, but it was clearly just like nothing happening. It was filler.
But again, to me that plays fine because to me it's building. It's giving us, because we're coming in with knowledge of what happens after, but for the first viewer seeing this, it's like, what's going on?
We've gotten into our car, we're lazily going like 10 miles an hour around the neighborhood, just seeing the sights, and you're just like, well, we'll get somewhere eventually, right?
Well, my point was that for the first time viewer, it's more of a introduction to cast and ability.
Yeah.
Because
right now it's fine. Later on, maybe less so.
Well, he's also saying things that mean stuff. It doesn't mean anything to us in the aftertime.
Try the best to act with dignity. Good luck there. Oh, there we go. That's a line that helps explain it. They will only respect a flawless ruler, thus he has to do things flawlessly. Which also maybe contributes to his caution, who knows?
I mean, we'll also learn later that's also not true.
It's also not true, but that is his initial impression and why things go this way.
It falls into the category, as you already described, as that he's a dork, and that he has misconceptions about interpersonal relationships based on the dystopia that he comes from, and not the reality of the situation before it.
His only impression is doing work at his job, and if he fails, then he's terrible and loses everything. So, now he has a job, and if he fails, he loses everything, right? Right? No, it's not true. So for first episode, it's all that it needs to be. It sets up character gets isekai'd, we get to see some characters that'll be appearing a whole lot, we get a quick impression of their personalities, and we kind of understand the situation he's in and what he's going to do. And next episode, I think Ainz himself does get into a fight, too. No. As well, if I recall.
No, Ainz himself doesn't get into a fight for a long time.
I remember he goes out into the road and, does a single fight, and is like, okay, cool.
I think we have a misconception here between us of what you would consider a fight. Let's just clear this up now. Would you consider... Sorry, the voice is clearly going. It's been a long day.
I would qualify any hostile encounter regardless of outcome.
See, I'm considering Ainz getting into a fight as when he performs his alter ego warrior thing where he actually swings a sword. Because he's a god level entity right now. If he just swishes a hand and 1,000 people die, that's not a fight to me.
I would still qualify it because it's a violent encounter where things happen.
That's what I'm saying, is that we have a misconception from the get-go what a fight is.
So now that the viewers know what we think, when you hear me say it, you know what I'm saying. When you hear Theta say it, you know that he's being much more critical.
Well, it's for him, doing this is crushing an ant. And when I crush an ant, I don't say that I got into a fight with the ant.
What is an ant to a
Now,
god?
if like a spider jumped on me and you still be like, ah, around the room, I might say, I got into a fight with a spider. Now, that's the difference that I'm making, is that next episode, obviously the clarification here is that we're alluding to, next episode Ainz does, and somebody dies, which is what I'm not saying a fight happened.
All right.
A fight
So
happens between two people of even footing, is what I would say.
So, I guess next time Ainz doesn't get into a fight, but Theta fights a spider.
I would say next episode, Ainz uses a power.
Ainz demonstrates his strength. Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, Ainz has performs a demonstration versus Ainz getting into a fight, because when Ainz gets into a fight, Ainz has to put on a show of being less powerful than he actually is.
Yeah. All right, then. So, I think that's about it for this episode, and next time we'll have a whole lot more to talk about. So, I'm Griffin, that's Theta, this has been Stoneface Reactions, and we'll catch you all next time. See you, everybody. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?